What's going on, everybody? And welcome to another episode of the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams. As always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
And LeVon Maynard.
Hey, welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. What's going on, everybody? It's another great week. Definitely continue to tune in. Monday and Tuesday are topics. Wednesday's discussions. Thursday, sometimes we have an Ask Us SP where we talk to people who are trying to break into cyber. And then Fridays, we talk about everything else. We call it the weekly rundown. A little disclaimer up front. So you'll be hearing these episodes from the 21st through the 25th. However, there will be no 28 through 1 April episodes. I got to go out of town. I can't record the normal sessions that we normally do. So we'll have 1 week hiatus. But I just want to make sure everybody's tracking. So that way you don't unsubscribe. Actually, subscribe twice as much. All right. So that way when we come back, you'll get the notifications. What I'm trying to get at. Mm-hmm. But without further ado, I'll give it to LeVon.
Yes, sir. This week we have an article from Info Security magazine. This was from Phil Muncaster. This was for a Clearview AI helping the Ukrainian war effort. So essentially, this is a controversial tech company called Clearview AI, and they're reportedly offering its facial recognition capabilities to the Ukrainian government to help with the war effort. And this AI vendor has been effectively banned in several Western countries for breaking data protection laws, offering because it offers a powerful search engine to help identify persons of interest via their facial characteristics. It looks like the CEO's name is Hoan Ton-Bat, and the article says that it remains unclear that what Ukraine is using the technology for, but they sent a letter to the government and said it can be used for various scenarios, and some of the scenarios include vetting individuals of interest at checkpoints, identifying the dead, reuniting refugees separated from their families, and even helping to debunk Russian disinformation efforts on social media. And it says that the CEO says that the firm has over 2 billion images taken from Russian social media service, which is pronounced, well, I don't know the pronounce, but it's spelled VKONTAKTE. So contact. Yeah,
I was like, is he gonna go for it? Because I'm
gonna go for it. I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying, but it's a the VK social media website that Russia's running. But I guess they pulled billions of images off of that, which is pretty interesting. But they said that they're not offering the technology to Moscow, so they're keeping it with Ukraine. It looks like the Manhattan-based software firm has a vast collection of 10 billion facial images, which it allows law enforcement and other customers to query. Let's see, and the article kind of goes into the questionable nature of this company as far as the Clearview technology. Looks like even Google, Meta, and Twitter have issued cease and desist orders to the firm to prevent it from scraping more user images from their platforms and contravention of their applicable use policies. So yeah, it's kind of controversial that they are, they have these images available and they could be used for identifying individuals. And obviously, as I mentioned, that they're not really being used in the U.S. They've kind of been blocked because of these practices. And obviously, it goes into people's protection and personal rights of not having their images or the identity or the facial structures and everything like that used to identify them while they're walking around. And but it's like, I know Shannon has some thoughts on this before, but it's kind of used to potentially capture people of interest that may be like terrorists or something like that. But at the same time, people are concerned about their own personal well-being and their privacy being maintained, so they can walk in the streets without being identified and tracked. Because there's a thing with big government. People don't want to have big government and Big Brother like watching them as they're moving around. But I'll turn this over to Shannon. I think you have some thoughts on this one.
So I do. It's because I'm the Patriot Act guy, right? Like I don't mind, but I don't know. I'm starting to. I don't want to say change my mind a little bit, but some of the stuff we're going to see, and you guys should stay tuned till later in the week. Okay, a little bit of foreshadowing, some stuff that might come up to where this is probably being used, right? And like you mentioned, The reason you're not seeing it in the US, right, is because of the people that the companies that did a cease and desist order on them, right? And it was Google, Meta, and Twitter. Where are all of our pictures at nowadays, right? In America, right? Google, Meta, and Twitter, right? That's where you find all these pictures that they're going to find all these people, right? And they had a cease and desist order on them to not use it anymore. But another place they got in trouble is over in Europe, right? The UK
Yeah.
actually hit them with a fine of 17 million pounds, which was 22. Let me see if I can find it here, $22.6 million, right, from the Information Commissioner's Office for alleged serious breaches of the GDPR. We brought up the GDPR before, right? Like with what they do over in the EU when it comes to privacy, and some of the reasons, well, 8 of the things that they have on here for data subject privacy rights that they do in the GDPR. This is kind of what they were not following, and this is how they got caught up, right? So the 8 rules they have is the right to be informed, the right of access, the right to rectification, the right to erasure, right? So to have your stuff erased if need be, which this company was not following, the right to restrict processing, the right to data portability, the right to object, right? Which are not giving people the right to object. They're just taking your photos, right, and use them for this purpose, and the rights in relation to automated decision making and profiling. So this is why they got hit with that fine, right? Because Clearview AI is actually an American company, right? But even though they're in America, this doesn't stop them from operating all over the globe with what they do. But yeah, this is one of those things. It's just like, man, I don't know. I'm kind of I get what they're trying to do by helping Ukraine, right? Like it's almost universally recognized that Russia is in the wrong here, right? So them wanting to help Ukraine, I don't have a problem with, but they've already been slapped before, right? They got a $22.6 million fine they got hit with, and I had to look this up. I think it was 2021. I think it was just last year, actually. I think it was like November of 2021, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 30 November 2021. Yeah, they got fined 22.6 million. So it wasn't that long ago even, but yeah, this is one of those things where it gets tricky. It gets to be a slippery slope, and it's like, again, I do want those Terrys caught. You know what I'm saying? This can help, but we also have to think about, like, when it comes to facial recognition technology, and this may not be something that's really affecting it over there in the Ukraine and Moscow, but remember that when it comes to people of color, right? There's a little bit of what do you call it? A larger
bias.
Hey, let's go with that. A larger bias, right? Like it's not as accurate as it is with people that are not of color when it comes to facial recognition. So, but again, I don't know if you have that problem as much. And I'm not saying it's 100%. You don't have people of color over there in the Ukraine, because there are some refugees over there that are of color, right? But you have to be careful with that as well, right? So if you're using this technology, you could have somebody, you could be hemming somebody up that you don't need to, right? There could be you think you got a black Russian and you don't, you know what I'm saying? But Ryan, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think you two definitely hit the nail right on the head. Yeah, there is a bias. So I mean, it's kind of like, well, it won't really impact us that much, right? But it could, because there's a larger margin of error because of it. Because yeah, they have students, they have refugees over there. They have people who are in industry and business as well. I it's weird, right? I'm the techie guy, but the politician in me is like, again, we have these third parties aiding in war and conflict, right? Like, because I'm all like, I'm definitely like, I'm glad they're helping them out. I'm glad they're on the right side of this, in my personal opinion. But they're banned from the West for a reason, like you said. Like the companies with the most images and private information are like, we don't know about them. That's a red flag. You know what I mean? And then, like you said, where are they getting this data from? So like these billions of images are coming from social media. And then with the GDPR, they're in direct violation because no one's opting in. Because I read a different article that said that they were using it for recognition of the dead, so that people can identify, if their loved ones were killed in the conflict. And it's highly accurate. They said that you don't even need it's pretty morbid, right? But you don't need the entire person's face to be able to identify who they are. So it's pretty powerful tech being involved. But where do those images come from? That's the crux of the issue. And then are they being used to target the Ukraine's been hitting some really high profile people in this conflict. Like, is this technology being used to target the enemy and identify those people who are VIPs? Again, it's war, right? So like technology evolves, is used, and what have you. But this is a U.S. based company, and are they sanctioned? Like, will they be okay once the dust settles? That's the question I always have, right? When it comes to that, the hackers that are helping now, the private companies that are helping, like, will you be okay once there's a peace treaty or whatever happens? Like, are they going to come for you being a war criminal? Who's to say? Like, is it like all this technology and stuff hasn't been used before, at least not to this degree? So I don't know. I think it'd be interesting in the future, like they start extraditing people, you know what I mean, for war crimes, and they didn't even set foot on the battlefield. So we'll see. I guess there's more to come.
What you're saying right now is kind of in line with the discussion 2 weeks ago, right? When it came to Elon Musk and Starlink, it was the same thing, right? Like he runs a private company that was out there trying to help. Where's that line?
Yeah, once it's all said and done, people start to make agreements and what have you. Like some of that stuff will be retroactive. Like, well, this wasn't okay. And you'd be like, well, I didn't know it wasn't okay. But that's not the way the rules work, unfortunately. But I'm all about technology, but it's the evolution is happening a little bit quicker and a little bit scarier than we initially thought. Like, we don't know what they're using the technology for. Like, they're collecting those images, and then what will they be used for in the future? Like, just because they're on the right side this time, who's to say they won't be on? Like, they're like Moscow, like, yeah, that technology really hampered us. We should hire them. You know what I mean? Like, pull them to our side. We'll pay them more. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. But with that being said, I thought this was a really good episode. I never say it's a bad episode for those who are listening. Whenever we close the episode, that was a really good episode. I never like, man, that was terrible.
Because it never has been. That's why.
Right.
Because it never has.
Flawless.
Right.
Yeah.
Flawless
victory.
But definitely continue to tune in. Again, Monday and Tuesday are topics, Wednesday's discussion. So this is a foreshadowing of a discussion that we're going to have later on to do with technology and imagery. No Ask Us SP this week. Definitely a good the weekly rundown on Friday, if that's also something you listen to. But just continue to tune in. Like I said, subscribe, share, like, all that good stuff. Hit a bell if a bell's involved. And we will be here throughout the week. And then next week, we're taking a small break. So hit up our social medias, all the same names that the podcast is called, as well as you give me a personally. I'm at RY Security Guy. That's RY Security Guy on LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, and Clubhouse. And you, LeVon?
You hit me up on the Twitters at LeVon Maynard.
There it is. Stay safe, stay secure.
Take care.